We had already built a whole bunch of passive houses across the country in various different climate zones, and had found a few things that really were not working as ideal as they could have. And we also found that the cost effectiveness was off quite a bit, especially in like very extreme climates. Also, thermal comfort had a few issues. So it was clear that there needed to be some kind of like a calibration for different climates. And actually, it turns out that a design constraint, like a standard, is a very strong design constraint and has impacts on how you design your building. So it's really important that you get the standard right. And it needs to be designed with the climate in mind. Like, okay, do I have cooling? Do I have heating? Do I have dehumidification? How does that how should that translate the best solution into what kind of design guidelines should that translate? Essentially, what the standards are shorthand for finding the sweet spot between envelope upgrades and renewables. And of course, that's the end goal. We want to make the building as efficient as possible, as cost effectively as possible, to then add renewable generation to it, and then zero out site energy, and then of course source energy. So if it all works out, and if the system has been designed correctly, then this is really kind of like the holy grail of high performance building in my opinion. So since 2012, we partnered with the Department of Energy, and we adopted all the industry standards that DOE had been developing for high-performance homes. Our buildings that we certify now under the new standard, they all also meet the Zero Energy Ready Home requirements with third-party verification for design as well as on-site. So this is how our program really distinguishes itself from all other programs out there right now. So what we're seeing so far with the new standards that were developed in a Department of Energy grant in cooperation with Building Science Corporation. They were launched last year in March. So what we're seeing right now in the market is like a really very, very sharp uptake, especially in multifamily buildings. It seems to kind of like really have made this possible. Design teams can now, when they're using the new standards, they seem to be truly capable and able to build these homes at no additional cost. That's what we've seen in markets like New York, markets that had kind of like stopped building passive buildings because the standards were kind of too tough. They were asking for too much insulation. They're coming back online. That would be an example of Minnesota. Initially, the Minnesotans were totally into it, and then they started building, and they're like, well, wait a minute, this is pushing me to like an R60, another slab, and like 2.5, 3 feet for insulation for a single-family home in the wall. So with the new standards now a little bit relaxed for the very cold climates, that's much easier. They are back in the game, and of course the relaxation that happened for the very cold climates, that was done so that the comfort criteria still are upheld. So we relaxed it a little bit, but we couldn't go very far because then we would have lost the peak load and resiliency that is so important and such a core tenet of passive house. And for example, in California, that's where the standards actually tightened. Turns out that there's more economic power there. You can go a little further with your envelope, and that makes the economic balance between envelope and renewables even better, because you guys have such phenomenal weather, but the German standard was a little bit stopping short. You can actually do much better in California. So yeah, that's the story. And so over the last 2 years, we've seen sharp increase. Beginning of this year, we had like 1 million square feet nationwide in all different climates, certified and pre-certified. So basically, these are all projects that are already either fully certified, occupied, or under construction. And yeah, so if you count all those that have been submitted for certification, we're already at like 2.5 million square feet nationwide. So really sharp exponential increase in demand for certifying projects to these new standards, and we're very happy with that.